For most of you, you know the good, but when you reflect and you have to go back, I have to go back to those abandoned buildings. It's a lot of trauma in that. That's not something that you talk about when you're motivated, because my job is to help you not to stay in your trauma, but to get to that next level. But I remember being in that abandoned building. I remember walking the streets of Detroit. And the winters are real. I remember going into restaurants and faking it like I was going to order just so I could stay warm. I remember feeling like frostbitten. And I would go in and let me get the number, whatever. And I would pat my, you know what I'm saying? Like I'd go in, look, do the whole, where's my wallet, boy? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, just give me a minute. I promise you, I got you. Let me go to the table. And I would go put my head down and go to sleep. So I remember though, saying to myself one day, yo, E, it can't end like this. I think what happened when I was homeless, it was a beautiful awakening. It's like when you're living in your parents' home, they are the enemy. Everything you don't do right is because of them. And then when you're on your own and you start making mistakes that you made when you were at home, it's like you can't put it on mama now. Mama not with you no more. You can't put it on daddy and say, my father was too hard. I had a curfew. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't let me party past 12. I had all these excuses why I wasn't successful because of my parents. But then I was homeless and still messing up in school. You know what I'm saying? I was homeless and still getting pulled over by police. You know what I'm saying? For my boys selling dope. I was still getting shot at. It was some crazy stuff happening in my life. And I was like, yo, Eric, you finally have what you always wanted, control over your life, and you're getting the same results. So it's only one common denominator. The teacher doesn't know the cop that arrested you. The cop don't know your mama. You know what I'm saying? The cop don't know the principal. But one of these kids, everybody knows. The cop knows you, the teachers know you, the counselor know you, your mama know you, the police know you. You are the most common denominator in all of this mess. So because there's one person that's in all of this, that one person is the problem. And I began to say to myself, yo, E, if you really want to change, you have to take personal responsibility. And I think the company is where it is, and people follow me because they don't hear a bunch of excuses. They hear, yo, E, you coming at me hard, but it's the truth. I know what I'm doing wrong, and I just need to make the adjustment. So I would say personal accountability and personal responsibility is what took me from being homeless and a high school dropout to the #1 motivational speaker in the world. You run from challenges, and what you don't realize, you've heard me say this before, a diamond isn't a diamond because it don't go through nothing. You feel me? The diamond is a diamond because of the process. Right? And we know the first is the pressure that it has to go through. And I'm telling y'all, if there's one thing I want y'all to tell the millennials, they got the relationship that they have with pressure is weird. I promise you, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. With millennials, they trying to run from problems. For real, they about to commit suicide because of pressure, right? And they'll come to me, these millennials will come to me yo, E, I'm going through it. I'm like, you not, I got a lot on my plate. You ain't picking cotton. You ain't got those kind of problems. I'm just being real. This ain't civil rights. You don't have dogs coming at you. I'm just being real. No dogs are coming at you. You don't have water hoses. You don't have people with clubs beating you upside your head. You ain't got no real problems. For me, I understand that when I look at my ancestors, challenges and pressure is why we say Martin Luther King, because he went through them. It's why we say Malcolm X, because we say Rosa Parks or Harriet Tubman. Why? Because of the challenges that they went through and they got through it. So listen to me. The first part of a diamond is pressure. The pressure is what destroys all the dross, all the unnecessary stuff about you. Pressure is going to get that stuff out the way and bring greatness out of you. Greatness don't come out of you when you're making 6 figures. So listen to me. So then there is the heat that it has to go through. And then look, a diamond is a diamond because they cut it. And so we hate constructive criticism, but that's a part of the process. So listen to me. In business, and y'all got to hear this for real, I've had no struggles in business. Why? The stuff I'm dealing with in business doesn't compare to homeless. I was homeless. I remember having people tell me the PhD is going to break you. No, it's going to break you because you ain't been through nothing, because you spoiled. It's going to break you. It's not going to break me. I ate out of trash cans. A paper is not equivalent to eating out of trash cans. It's not the same thing. So for me, no pressure in business, but I will say this, and please hear me, because a lot of you want to rush the process. We never planned for a business. We just wanted to change lives. The 1%ers live on their own terms. That's what the 1%ers are. The 1%ers don't care about what nobody else thinks. They're not concerned about what other people, they're not trying to impress nobody else. The 1%ers, all their energy goes into being who they are. That's it. When you in the 1%, you got time. You own your own time. So the number one qualification for the 1% is they own their own time. What would my life look like if I was really in the 1%? What would it look like? And again, that's why I said be careful, because you can start getting on the internet and you can start making it look like something that is not. And I'm not telling you not to market yourself. I'm not telling you not to be creative, but I'm saying don't get to a point where it's a thin line and you lying to yourself. And you're waking up lying. You're waking up doing activities to make other people feel a certain way. And then you looked up and your whole life now has become about making people feel a certain way about you. I'm telling you, invest your time in really making what you wrote down happen so that can happen, and then they're going to see it. Here's what broke people do. Broke people wake up every day and focus on what? Getting money. Getting what? Get money, right? And I just told you, if you get money, you don't necessarily have the other stuff. But if you own your own time, you got all of that. If you own your own time, you can't own your own time without having all the other stuff. So that's why we're gonna shift our focus. Broke people wake up and how much money do I need money. You don't need money when you're creative. You don't need money when you creative. You need money when you broke. When you creative, you don't need money. Why? Because you can wake up and create something that can make you $10 million. If you creative, so you're spending so much of your time trying to make money that you're not focusing on what you're supposed to focus on. So at the end of the day, your superpower is when you are your authentic self. That's your superpower, is when you're you. If I'm going to be like anybody else, it's not going to work. And at the end of the day, if you are your authentic self, that's the 1%. There's 1% of us that don't care about what nobody else say or think about us. We're going to be our authentic self. That's what the 1% is. That's why I'm the #1 motivational speaker in the world. It don't mean nobody else ain't #1. I'm #1. Why? Just because I'm being myself. Be your authentic self. And when you are your authentic self, that's your superpower. And when you are in your superpower, that's what makes you 1%, because you're not like nobody else. And you got a whole world that when you are authentic, they challenge you. That's the real problem. And so every time we go outside, most of you would be filthy rich if you could be you. But every time you try to be you, somebody challenging you. So that's what happens. When you try to be you, people gonna dog you out. When you try to be you, people gonna try to push you and bully you and challenge you because you ain't being what they think you should be. And most of you gonna break, and that's why you're not a 1%er. I'm gonna say it one more time. Most of you gonna break. Most of you gonna break because you're not a 1%er. Most of you gonna make, and what you don't know about them is they don't know who they are. And they not happy with their life. And they don't want you to be happy because they not happy. And if you would just stand up and say, this is who I am. And if you would just be yourself, that's all. I got a couple things, but if I could just get you to leave out of here and no longer be what they want you to be, but be who you were called to be, you're going to go to a whole nother level. So the problem with most of you, and you don't even get it, you've been trying to be like everybody else, and that's what's killing you. Go buy what you want to buy, not what they want you to buy. For real, live the way you want to live and not how they want you to live. I'm telling you, you're going to go to a whole level. Why? Because you're going to be different. You're going to be rare, and that rarity is what's going to take you to the next level. you have a better chance of being your authentic self. My son's like, Dad, I want to make 6 figures. I'm like, cool. I'm not going to give you 6 figures, and I'm in a position to do that. But what I continue to think about is if I give my son money, if I die, what's going to happen to him? He's not going to be able to, he's not going to be able to take care of himself. So my thing is, you tell me what you want, and I can show you how to make it. So my son, he told me what he wanted to make. He's about to get married in a year. So I trained my son in the DISC assessment, like thoroughly trained. I don't know, that's my son's stuff. Like thoroughly trained my son. My daughter is a beast at it. So what I tell my son is, this is what I'll do for you. I don't have time to certify everybody. But as people come in, you certify them. You certify everybody online, I give you 50%. I keep 50%, you take 50%, right? But I'm gonna watch you, and you better be sweet with it, right? So he got access to my man Mustafa, Moose, getting him tight work. He got access to Anthony Flynn, Anthony working with him. He got access to CJ. I mean that, he has access. I don't owe him to let CJ talk to him. Like, I don't owe him that. Like, CJ charge people. So just because he's your uncle, you don't get to go to him for free. But I've given him access to the people who've helped me blow up. And then it's like, yo, how much you trying to make? Dad, I'm trying to make an extra 5,000 this month. Well, that sounds like 10 certifications. So you're gonna have to get on the phone, right? So I got some D1 schools that are like, yo, we want you to come train us. Bro, I don't got time. The kind of money they pay, and trying to be funny, you only got $50,000 an hour from me. I told my son, the university called me, D1 program, they want it. We'll go in together the first time because they want to see me. Then after that, you go in and you work with them on a regular basis, right? And if you can put me on the screen because I'm available in my hotel room, I'll get on the screen while you're local. But you learn the DISC like the back of your hand. My daughter, you learn it like the back, and we'll start a family company. So can I give him 50 grand? I'll be spoiling him and killing him. But I'm giving him a skill set. Because at the end of the day, it's just not about the meat you eat when you hunt. It's about the confidence you get when you can go hunt. When you can actually go out as a lion or a lioness and catch that, there's a pride in not just making money. There's a pride in the process of the money.